trying to get this up. Oh, that's exciting.
It's great to know that the Melbourne Cinematheque at last is back with a regular program after so many interruptions due to COVID over the last couple of years. And it's my great pleasure to be speaking, as usual, about the Melbourne Cinematheque program to Michael Koller. Michael, welcome to Movie Metropolis, and hope you're not too bad.
Oh, I'm okay. I'm a bit lightheaded, that's all. But I better say that I've actually got diagnosed with COVID yesterday, but so far it's been okay, I must say. But people tell me it's okay for a little while and it gets really bad. So hopefully it doesn't get really bad. And I've been ostracised from my other family members.
Oh, yes, the isolation. Yeah.
Which is worse. In fact, a friend of mine, she had COVID, and she's got a 1-year-old child, and she works for me. And I came out and said, I've got COVID. And she ran out of the room as fast as she could and said, don't you go near me. And I said, what's your problem? She said, I think hell is being isolated with COVID, but a double shot of hell is being isolated with COVID with a 1-year-old child. And I thought, yeah, that's probably true. That's worse than being by yourself if you're stuck for 24 hours a day with a child. Yeah.
Yes. Luckily, it's only 1 week. Yeah, anyway, all right. Okay, Michael, Cinematheque is back. So tell me about, ACMI.
Only for some.
I know.
Not for me. Yes.
Yes, not for you. No, I understand. But and ACMI is out of action as well at the moment. Tell me about all the challenges you've had over the last 12 months. It's just incredible.
Well, I don't know what to say. It's obviously a lot of it's COVID related.
Yeah.
And in a way, the big thing even now is getting stuff in and out of the country. And we're not importing a lot of stuff. We're trying to use a lot of the local sources for things. But even that's very, very difficult, I must say. And obviously we, started at the end of in December with our cocktail season. Then we thought we're going to be going all the way through, and then we get knocked with this repairs needed at ACMI thing. And I must admit they were very embarrassed about that. And
can I just ask you, what are the repairs? Because I thought everything was sorted at ACMI.
Well, they put in some new sound panels, which are apparently fantastic. The sound is much, much better, but for some reason some of them came off the ceiling.
Oh, I see.
So now they're going and they're redoing the whole lot.
So the blue tack didn't work. Okay.
I'm not making any jokes about that.
I can. That's all right. No, that's fine. Anyway, so you're back at this stage for the next 3 weeks at the Capitol, starting on Wednesday night.
4 weeks, I think. 4 weeks.
4 weeks. 4 weeks.
Actually, I think it's more than that.
Well, it's until 16th of March.
No, it's the 23rd, actually.
Oh, 23rd as well.
Yeah. No, up to the 23rd. It may actually be. It is the first 4 dates.
Right.
So it's all the Sturges season and the opening night. And after that, if the repairs aren't done, although I'm told that they're running ahead of schedule, but who knows?
Yeah.
We will be there for maybe a couple more weeks, and certainly we could probably stay there. Well, probably another 3 weeks if need be, but hopefully we can leave. It's a bit difficult because we're already at one remove dealing with ACMI, because we've got BioBox people we're allowed to talk to, and then suddenly it becomes even more so because we've got capital people involved also in that whole process. So it's another level of administration that's required as well.
All more complicated. Yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
And in fact, the joke of it is, in a way, that with film, as in the real stuff, it gets here and then it's here. But with digital stuff, first of all, you have to download the thing to start with. We have to get a link to download the stuff, which admittedly is a lot better. The first thing we ever downloaded took 2 weeks to download many years ago. And then once you've done that, you've then got to get a key to unlock it.
Yep.
And usually they're fine, but they're not always fine either.
I know.
And hopefully the subtitles are working, although in this case, hopefully the subtitles aren't working, and certainly, hopefully the dubbed Spanish language isn't working either.
Right, because we should talk about then the first season this year, which is the Preston Sturges screenings. And on Wednesday night, you've got Easy Living and Remember the Night, both films I've seen, and they're such excellent examples of the great writing that Preston Sturges was doing at the time.
Well, and also the great direction that Mitchell Larson does. I mean, you know, he's a guy who did direct probably half a dozen, 10 really, really great Hollywood films. And I mean, Easy Living and Remember the Night are two of those. And I mean, I just thought we thought that after everything we've been through, it would be good to start with everybody leaving the place happy, hopefully.
Well, they're both very good comedies, in particular, Easy Living.
A great cast. And of course, the other thing is that The Capitol was the original Paramount cinema. And the first 4 weeks, they're all Paramount films. And Adrian Danks reckons I should spread the rumour that I went in there and damaged the ACMI cinemas so that we could go back to the home of Paramount. Because, of course, the last thing we screened at the Capitol was the Dietrich season, which also had a number of Paramount films in it too.
Irony and coincidences. I like it. That works so well. Now, the other films that are screening on March 2nd, March 8th, I notice you have to move to a Tuesday in that week, and then March 16th, such magnificent films as Sullivan's Travels. So, what a great film that is. Great McGinty.
It's one of my favourites.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And Great McGinty, and then the following week, Christmas in July, Hail the Conquering Hero, which was... wow, that was pretty out there in 1941 during World War II. That was incredible.
It's a very bizarre film to have made at that time. Although in a sense, it's also very timely too, because I'm sure they were on the verge of getting lots of heroes by then too.
Yes, exactly.
US.
And what Preston Sturges was so
1944. Actually, it's 1940. Did you say 1944?
44. I said 41.
I think you did, yeah, because I was going to say it was the war. But anyway, the point is that, yes, it was. There certainly were a lot of heroes at that time, and some of them, well, we could look at recent events in Australia to kind of illustrate that.
Yes.
Not that I'm going to go there.
No.
Although I did go to the Canberra at Christmas time.
Yeah.
And there's an exhibition with all the medals and everything of all the great war heroes we have, and one of the two full-size photos they had out the front was that guy, in fact. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting. I thought they might have taken that down by now, but then I also think if they had taken it down, there would have been a lot of controversy about them taking it down. So
you can never avoid controversy, but what Preston Sturges was so good at in his writing was commenting on class differences and on social issues, especially the Depression era. I mean, Easy Living reflects commentary near the end of the Depression era, and Sullivan's Travels is such a terrific film about especially about commenting on America's woes and the down and outs suffering for various reasons.
Although it is really fascinating, isn't it? The way the ending is all about kind of getting redemption, or whatever you want to call it. It's not really redemption, through watching, is it Disney? I think it's Mickey Mouse, isn't it? Or something like that. Yeah. Watching a Mickey Mouse cartoon and realizing, life isn't necessarily as complex as you think it's going to be. And you can enjoy the small, simple pleasures of life.
Exactly, despite the depression and this director making this journey. But I'm wondering if the studio imposed that ending.
Don't know.
Because I would have thought it would have been a much more downbeat ending based on everything that had gone before.
Yeah, but it is a comedy too.
True.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
And seriously, you go to see a comedy. It's like I was reading about the sidetracking here, all the place. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and some people saying, oh, it's more of the same stuff. And I watched the first episode of the new series, and it's actually very, very, very funny. And maybe it's more of the same stuff, but it's still very funny. So, I mean, for comedy, I mean, isn't that what comedies are about? About being funny rather than anything else necessarily?
True, but you can still make social commentary at the same time. But
No,
that's
you can. And Mrs. Maisel does too.
true. It does. It does.
Yeah.
And you're rounding off the Preston Sturges season with Palm Beach Story, another great film, and Unfaithfully Yours, which I have seen, but it's not as well known.
No, it's a much maligned film, I think. I mean, basically because it's a number of little vignettes, and it's actually that's one of the most loathed genres, as far as I'm concerned, is the portmanteau film. I hate those. They don't seem to work very well. You've usually got 2 or 3 really terrible stories with one good one, if you're lucky. But it's actually, it is very interesting. And in fact, the note on that film is written by me. Not that I can remember. I think I wrote it about 20 or 25 years ago. So there you go.
Right. So that's a terrific season.
It's definitely worth seeing. And certainly if you're interested in Sturges, it's definitely worth seeing.
Exactly. Now, are most of the prints actual film prints, or are they?
No.
Right.
No, they're all DCPs, all 4 weeks. And we did that on purpose. I mean, just because we've had some absolute shocking experiences, as I said, with freight. The Binoche season is 50% local prints and 50% DCPs.
Yep.
But we didn't want to start with. I mean, because the Cocteau season worked well, and that was all. No, we had one print. Well, we had 2 if you count the Shimizu as well, but they were already here. But we had a lot of problems returning films, and one film that was going back to Rome. Who would have thought? Rome. I thought you get on a plane, you land in Rome, but apparently not. You go via China and Bahrain, and this film. I had this was actually our 3rd attempt to return the film, because apparently it got to Rome and then nobody contacted us and it was sent back, I think. I'm not even quite sure what happened with that. We weren't charged for it. So it was obviously a problem at their end. So when it finally left here, I mean, it went from here to Sydney. Took 3 days to leave here and then get to Sydney, and then it was another 3 or 4 days in Sydney, and then it went to, as I said, China, and it took 10 days, I think, to get back, and I think it went through like 6 or 7 or 8 cities to get to Rome.
Isn't that amazing? No wonder DCPs and digital downloads are at this stage, until that improves, is the best way to go. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so with the Juliette Binoche season, which is March 23rd to April 6th, again, some great films there. 3 Colors Blue, Certified Copy, which is Kiarostami, if I'm not mistaken.
That's good guess. You never guess why we chose that one.
Yeah. And Cachet, or Hidden.
Well, we were a bit surprised because we thought that maybe ACMI would be screening that one, but they weren't. So, we're screening the Iranian Kiarostami films, and ACMI is screening the international ones, shall we say. So, I thought they would have been screening
Certified
that, but they're not. So, so it was good. It was kind of our sneaky way of kind of doing cross-season connections, which I was like doing anyway.
But I mean, again, Binoche is such a terrific actress, and she features in a few of the films at the upcoming French Film Festival here in Australia. Yes. And it's so good that you've also got some of her perhaps slightly lesser known films like High Life, Non-Fiction, and Alice et Martin.
Yes. Well, that was the plan. As you said, we've got 3 of the big names, really. Yeah. With Hidden, Cachet, Certified Copy, and 3 Colors Blue. And it was 3 Colors Blue was actually very difficult to get that cleared and everything, simply because often it's hard to find out who's got the film this week, following the trailer breadcrumbs to the source. But yeah, and then it turned out to be MK2. Hang on. With whom we don't have a good relationship with. They charge a lot of money, and the person they had doing it was terrible. but they've now got well, looks like a young, enthusiastic guy, and he's fantastic, I must say. So I've turned around and we got charged a reasonable fee for the rights on that film. Yeah. And we're using that to 35mm print. I mean, the 35mm prints are, in fact, the three big titles.
Uh-huh. Well, that
3 colours, blue, certified copy and hidden.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
And let's face it, I think of the others, they're all shot, they're all released on DCP anyway. So, and that's the other issue, I guess, is that nowadays so much stuff is. I mean, DCPs have been around for 20 years now, I guess, or even more.
Yes.
I keep looking at films and you say, I didn't realise that was made on digitally. I thought it was made on film, but there you go.
There you go. And just on that, with 3 Colours Blue, I'm not sure if you've had, or perhaps you're considering, a Kieslowski season.
We've had a couple. In fact, we may have even had 3. In fact, we may have even had 4, because I think we've shown the Decalogue series twice on film as well, not on digitally. And I think we've had 2 seasons beyond that anyway. I mean, there's a lot of films there. Great film director. Although you're right, we haven't had a season of his film for probably 15 years or maybe a bit more even. And it is we keep sort of saying, oh no, we can't do that because we've done that. And it's sort of like, but 15 years, everybody who saw those films is dead, and there's a whole bunch of new people who've been born since then who want to see them.
Exactly, to put it nicely. Yes, absolutely right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put it nicely. That's no reference to COVID, by the way.
Yes.
I'm not trying to... although apparently dark humour is the height of intelligence. So black humour is the height of intelligence. So there you go.
I think you're right. He said darkly. All right, let's move on to the next season, April 13th to 27th. Gillian Armstrong, again, terrific to see. Obviously, My Brilliant Career, which has been restored. High Tide, which is one of my favourites of hers. Starstruck.
It's my favourite.
Yeah,
it's my favourite too, actually, of the features. And in fact, Anthony Igonane is supposedly coming along to introduce the session as well. Yes, we got him last time. Yeah, but then we didn't get a cinema. and we got him this time, and we probably have got a cinema. So maybe. I mean, obviously he could be flying off somewhere, jet setting around the world, but who knows?
2 out of 2. I like it. All right, and Starstruck, which is I suppose in some respects it's a little known Australian musical, and yet it's such a delightful one set in a pub.
And don't forget the shorts, because her shorts were really terrific too.
They were, yes.
I mean, a lot of the women filmmakers, that's where they started. They made a number of really, really impressive shorts.
Yes. Before
they got to making features.
Absolutely agree.
And the dance is great. It's really great.
Yes. Dance her very well, and the teenage one that she followed up a number of years.
14's good, 18's better, or whatever. Was that the first one, and then Smokes and Lollies and
yes, all of those. Yeah, really fascinating. Yeah. And she did such a good documentary too with Unfolding Florence.
Yes, I was very impressed with that. It's excellent.
And her version of Little Women, I think, is pretty good. I mean, there are a number of good versions, but hers is also very strong.
Yeah. No, because people were saying, after the other one, the new one, maybe we shouldn't show it. But it actually stands up very well to that, I think. Yeah. And they're quite different too. Yes. Thematically, very different, which is it's always interesting to look at supposedly, people working with the same material and ending up with something totally different.
Exactly right. Is Gillian Armstrong doing anything for that season? Perhaps a filmed introduction?
No. Look, we did try to get her the first time round. I think she was busy. It's hard, isn't it? Yeah. Especially seeing we can't pay lots of money to bring these people down to Melbourne. We have to get local people and pretend they're international celebrities. You see.
Fair enough. All right. And then
actually, I remember this from the old days with the Melbourne Film Festival, with the jury. in the old, and I'm talking the 70s.
Yeah.
So the jury was supposed to be, people from around the world who, had some sort of standing in the film community. And Erwin Rada would go and find local people with very exotic sounding names that he could kind of put on the jury, so he didn't have to pay to bring somebody here. Because, I mean, in some cases, they didn't want to come here anyway, probably had to come with a boat, whatever a boat is.
In the 70s, that's probably true. But for Presky nowadays would frown on that. How awful.
I know. Yes, you can't get away with that anymore. You can't. That's why I tried to say that, I'm not trying to implicate the people who are at the festival nowadays. Yes.
Of course not. It goes back 40, 50 years. All right.
And it's amazing what that guy did, because really I started importing films, and admittedly they're only shorts and things, in the late 70s, and you would write a letter and you would send it off and you would wait for a reply. And maybe you got one and maybe you didn't. And if you were really kind of onto it, you maybe had a phone number you could try. And in fact, we got Bresson's phone number on one occasion.
Oh.
And somebody kept ringing him, and apparently he didn't answer that phone. He just obviously got a phone that he hands everybody his phone number to, but he never answers that phone.
You are full of stories, Michael. That's fantastic.
Oh, I am.
We should do a whole segment just talk about your reminiscences about contacting various film people and organising films.
Must be the mood-changing medication I'm on, or maybe it's just the mood-changing disease I'm on, actually.
Oh my God. Oh dear. Well, hopefully you'll keep it mild and it will disappear very soon. So
well, I got up this morning, I didn't feel so great, but I always find that's the worst spot. Once you get going, you kind of tend to shake everything off. So yeah, I was wondering whether I would make it till 3 o'clock, but here we go. Oh, sorry. What's the time? Oh, it's on YouTube. Well, like they say, it's 3 o'clock somewhere.
3 o'clock somewhere. By the way, are you double vaxxed or triple vaxxed or whatever?
Oh yeah, triple vaxxed, and now I'm kind of got the flu vax as well, in a sense.
Right. Oh dear. Okay. Well, let's hope for the best and that it disappears soon. Now, at last, of course, my favourite director. My show's called Movie Metropolis.
I know.
Fritz Lang, of course.
I know.
And
so great.
And you're not playing Metropolis, so I'm really upset. But then again, you've played it a number of times.
Well, and not just that, it was on last year as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in fact, originally, Adrian said, we've got to put Metropolis on. And I thought, I don't know, Metropolis was on last year. And then one of the other guys, and then we're having our committee meeting, and one of the other guys goes, what the hell? Why are you putting Metropolis on? And it was like, that was it. Out it goes. But that was replaced by M. So, I mean, I think I'd rather run M anyway, really, at this point in time. And in fact, the problem is, for me, the problematic part with Metropolis is the really good version of Metropolis is the long version, which has got all that grainy footage, which you don't want to show on a big screen. And the screen, the version you can run on a big screen doesn't, it looks good, but it's not really. It's the story doesn't really make a lot of sense.
No, it's not complete. Yeah, I agree. The complete version now, or almost complete, is the almost complete version is probably the best one. But you're right; it would have some problems being seen on the big screen with those intertitles and explanations and so on, and etc. Yeah.
And in fact, when Michelle ran Metropolis last year at the Capitol, was it last year? Or the year before, whenever she ran it, she actually asked me which do you think we should run?
Yeah.
And that's exactly my story. I said, well, it's your choice, but the long version makes more sense, but it doesn't look as good.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. But still, as you say, M, absolutely brilliant film, and Spione, Spies, is also an excellent film. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a replacement for something else as well. I can't remember what it was, but anyway, yes.
And the other 4 films are...
And that is 35 mil also.
35 mil, terrific. Yes. And the other 4 are his American films. And he made some excellent American films, Manhunt, Cloak and Dagger, While the Sea Sleeps, and Ministry of Fear. All very good and interesting films.
Well, I mean, we have had a few Lang seasons over the years, and there's still a few that I would like to show. I really wanted to show Clash by Night, which I think is a really, really wonderful performance by Marilyn Monroe.
True.
Very gritty, really tough. But there's nothing around. There's nothing around. There's not even a good Blu-ray of it around. It's really weird.
It is weird.
You think that Marilyn Monroe people would get onto it?
I would have thought maybe you would have screened something that I programmed when I ran German Cinema Melbourne for 1 year in 2017, and it's a film called Fritz Lang, which was a sort of a biography of Fritz Lang and his background, etc., and how he came to make his films based on the psychological intensity of some of them. That might have been a nice one to put in.
Look, it's always an issue, and sometimes, we're only doing 6 films.
Yeah.
And it means you'd have to take something else out, or unless it's a short doco, and then you can run like we did with the Cocteau. But we dropped the Cocteau film anyway, the doco, and that series, the Auteurs of Our Time, a French documentary series, is absolutely fantastic, because it's got a whole bunch of top-notch directors who made the episodes, and they make it in their own style. And they are really, really fascinating. They're a great discovery of the filmmakers if you don't know them. And it's also a great treatise by the filmmakers who are making them. So
yes.
I would recommend almost all of those, all the ones I've seen anyway.
Sure. Anyway, so that's that excellent Fritz Lang series of films, May 4th to the 18th. And then, as you've mentioned, the Abbas Kiarostami films will be shown.
They're actually... there's a 2-week gap before they're on. I think one of those nights will be Modesty Blaise and Leclise, okay? For obvious reasons.
Yes.
And the other night might be another Monica Vitti double, but we don't want to have 3 Antonioni films, and it's actually quite hard finding some of the other titles, actually.
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. The good ones anyway, yeah.
Oh, Monica Vitti, very good. And after the Kiarostami, I know it's not set in concrete yet, but have you got some ideas what you want to screen?
Well, that would then be the Shimizu season. So that'll be our first, kind of go whole hog with the 35mm. The advantage for us is it's all from the one source. In Japan, it's kind of like, don't they just have to throw it out the window and it'll kind of go downhill all the way to Melbourne? So I'm hoping that's the way it operates, without getting damaged, of course. I don't want to suggest that we're going to damage National Film Archive of Japan's priceless films.
Of course not.
I'm sure they're bubble wrapped.
Absolutely bubble wrap. And for the rest of the year, any hints about what else?
No. There are a couple of things. We'll probably do the Holmes night, the Barbara Hammer night season we'll do. The Jacobisco season will be on during the what's it called? The Slovak and Czech
and Slovak
festival. Sorry, I don't want to. Kind of last time I did an intro for the season, and I was very, very tired, and I opened my mouth, and I should have just stood there and said thank you and walked off. So, fortunately or unfortunately, Cerise wasn't there, and I then apologized to her afterwards, and I don't know if she accepted my apology or she was even wondering why I was doing it, but there you go. So no, and beyond that, there's a couple of other filmmakers we're considering, and in fact, that's as far as we've got with programming. We've basically got to work out that there's one more season before the film festival's on. We're just discussing what that'll be at the moment.
Sure.
But,
well, probably,
and let's face it, anything could change. It already has, as you can tell.
Course. I understand.
We were supposed to start 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
And now we've had to, and I excluded a couple of nights that you were a bit close to the film festival, a bit close to Easter, and now I've had to rebook them to make up for the lost sessions.
Yeah, it's never a dull moment in terms of trying to program the festival. So we'll talk again around about May, probably, or May or June, about the rest of the year's Cinematheque. That might be the best time. So congratulations on persevering and making sure that film buffs like myself and so many others can see such high quality films, as always, at the Melbourne Cinematheque.
It's a pleasure.
And I
Go
must
to
ask
temporary
you,
screenings.
just before I pressed record, you were talking about the Peter Gunn
Yes.
series. And where is that streaming?
It's on Netflix.
Netflix.
Yes.
Okay.
And they've got all well, actually it could be Prime. And no, it's on Prime. It's on Prime. And
Oh,
they've got all there must be not 90 or 100 episodes or something. It's a lot of episodes. Well,
yes,
certainly not. Yeah. Yeah.
because they date back.
And most of them are very, very good.
Yes, yes, and because they go back to the 1950s, if I'm not mistaken. Don't they?
59 maybe, 61,
Right,
something
right,
like that.
right.
And they're very advanced for the thoughts. I mean, Peter Gunn's a guy who lives in the artistic milieu. There's a lot of characters who are gay in the film, although we're never told that. There's a lot of prostitutes in the film, and we're never told that. Drug addicts, we are told that in a couple of occasions. There's all sorts of stuff. There's multicultural, a lot of stuff there. There's a black police sergeant who's in half a dozen episodes, and other black characters. There's a couple of episodes with Chinese people in them. And certainly quite a few Mexican, although I must say sometimes they lay the cultural cliches on a bit thick. You know, in one of the episodes they're playing the Mexican guitar and they're drinking tequilas and breaking the what's it called, the donkey thing that the kids whack.
Yeah. I know.
Donkey thing that kids whack. Yeah. So that was all in the first 10 seconds of that episode. So anyway, but no, it's really good, and the fighting scenes are very tough.
Yep.
Very small cast. As I was saying to my son, the cops are going to close down the gangsters, and there's like 6 gangsters there. And the police turn up, and it's Peter Gunn and the captain against all these guys.
50s television, 60s television, and as you were saying, some of the episodes were directed by major directors such as Robert Altman. Yeah.
Well, in fact, beyond that, a lot of them are directed by people. Well, I mean, Blake Edwards directed quite a few because it's his TV series anyway. He was the producer of it. Mancini did the music, as everyone probably should know.
Yep.
But a lot of the people who went on to work with Clint Eastwood as directors or second unit directors worked on the film as well. And it makes absolute sense because, Clint Eastwood was basically trained by, what's his name? The Dirty Harry director.
Don Siegel.
Yeah, Don Siegel. So, and Don Siegel was a no-nonsense guy. And so, Eastwood decided he was going to be a no-nonsense guy. And as I said, all those people who directed with him or directed the episodes and directed Eastwood, that a lot of those were, no-nonsense guys as well. So,
Okay, excellent. Last question I'll ask you. The Oscars are coming up on the 28th of March, our time, I think. What's your prediction about which film might win Best Film?
Oh, God. The best films I've seen this year are not in the... I've seen 9 of the 10 of them. The one I liked the most, I think, was West Side Story, to be quite honest.
Okay.
And I especially love the older Cuban couple, who I think just incredible, have that fantastic dance routine. And they both were, they were very, very, I don't think they've done that much film work, but they've certainly done a lot of theatre work and dance things. The things I really liked, well, the other 2 things I really liked, are Parallel Mothers, which isn't nominated.
It does have a nomination for Penelope Cruz.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Spencer, which I think was actually probably the best thing I've seen in the last year or something.
I'm so pleased to see Kristen Stewart at least got a nomination. Yeah.
Her performance is I don't know. It does seem a bit kind of, I don't know, what's the word? It's very staccato-ish in a way,
Yeah.
And I can't remember if Diane Spencer was actually like that at all. But I think the cast are very, very good, and she's very good. And I mean, Sean Harris, I always love Sean Harris. He's such a wonderful performer.
Yes.
So, you know.
Okay, there's some recommendations from Michael, and apart from that, the Melbourne Cinematheque, which launches at last for this year. Tomorrow, 23rd of February. That's right, at the Capitol for 4 weeks, and then hopefully back to ACMI. Michael, as always, thanks so much for talking with me.
Pleasure, Peter.
All the best.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.